Hello everyone, it's such a large crowd. I'm not at all used to speaking in front of a crowd, so bear with me while I go through this. So, spent around 25 years in the IT industry so far, but most of my life has been as an entrepreneur. In the sense that I have 2 failed startups to show. This is my 3rd one, so hopefully I'll strike gold with this, I don't know. The first 2, the mistakes that I made are probably what I remember the most. Well, I had a startup before the first failure, which was more of a consulting firm. So I wouldn't count that as a startup, right? The first one, I got into an area where I had no clue. I got into energy efficient air conditioning, leveraging geothermal, where I'm a computer science engineer, working with another guy who's a design guy. And none of us knew what geothermal is or what air conditioning is. But we had a 3rd person who was supposed to help us out. At the right time, he had other commitments, so he did not show up. But what we ended up doing in 5 years that we spent, instead of building a energy efficient air conditioner, we built a energy efficient cold storage. But it required a lot of capex to expand that. So after 5 years, I said, I'm done with this. I sold my stake to the other founder and I left. Then I tried my stint with the government. So we were supposed to set up an incubator similar to Startup Village. So people who are familiar with Kerala Startup Mission, it started off as Startup Village. So we wanted to set up something similar in Trivandrum. Worked with the government, met Chief Minister, IT Secretary, all of them. Everyone commits everything when you meet them. And with government, nothing moves. So after spending another 2 years there, I said, I'm done with this. So then started a services company with a couple of my classmates. And that was where things turned for me. I ran a product engineering firm. And all along, I knew I wanted to build a product. But I didn't want to do it day one. So I said, I'll work with clients, figure out what they needed. And probably down the road, I'll probably come across an idea which is worthwhile pursuing, right? So while working for one of the companies, we ran into this whole problem, which is from unstructured data or publicly available social media, news. Can you extract sentiment at scale? So the whole use case was, we were working for this influencer marketing company, which used to work with a lot of brands, reputed brands like Nike, Johnson & Johnson, and so on. And with influencers, social media influencers, likes of Will Smith, many of the footballers you can think of. And they wanted to know what is the reputational risk to their brand. So we did social listening at scale. And when we were doing this, one of our advisors said, why don't you use this to solve a problem that business lenders face, which is essentially, when you're doing an underwriting or scoring, you're understanding the risk of a business, right? That's the only point you actually evaluate the risk. What if you can monitor the risk on a daily basis? So that was the use case we sought out to solve with TRaiCE. So today we have TRaiCE, an automated business risk detection and monitoring system, leveraging qualitative data. So essentially what we do is we look at public news, social media, any unstructured data, and we come up with a risk index, and we do this daily. So we are scoring every business in a portfolio on a daily basis, and that's a use case. And we are at a stage where we have 2 clients. We are trying to leverage or learn as much as we can from the interactions here and see where we can take the product. In terms of a bet that I've taken, even with recently, is we used to run a services product engineering firm, and we were revenue positive. But at one day, we decided we have the product. I'm no longer doing this with services because services is not a scalable business, right? Let me switch and take my entire bet on product. So that's a bet we have taken. I don't know where it will lead us, but that's my story.